When you are engaging and commenting on other people's content, they will comment and engage on your content. And it starts creating a snowball effect. You will see like...
Today, we're talking about how a local entrepreneur went from 5,000 to 75,000 followers on LinkedIn in the last year. But before we get into that, let's talk headlines from around the world of Orlando business. Major League dreams need Major League bucks. Pat Williams, the man who brought the magic to Orlando, is now wanting to bring Major League Baseball to our incredible city. Part of his push to make the Orlando Dreamers baseball team a reality includes seeking nearly $1 billion from Orange County's tourist development tax revenue to build the 45,000-seat stadium the team would call home. The proposed $1.7 billion development project would also include separate hotels with up to 1,000 rooms and a performance venue that could seat 10,000 people. If all of Williams' dreams come true, the stadium is set to be built on currently undeveloped Orange County-owned land just north of SeaWorld. Aftershock from the regional banking crisis may hit Florida. Even though the crisis is yet to impact banks with a large presence in the state, its effects could send tremors through Metro Orlando's bustling real estate market amid existing uncertainty in the sector. Speaking with the Orlando Business Journal, Sean Snaith, an economist and director of the University of Central Florida's Institute for Economic Forecasting, warned that Floridians should brace for the possible economic impact as shrapnel from the recent high-profile failures at SVB and other banks hits commercial real estate. Bed Bath and bankruptcy? After a recent filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protections, the former home goods powerhouse Bed Bath & Beyond announces deep discounts in an effort to liquidate its remaining inventory. Despite already shuttering several locations, the company still operates half a dozen stores bargain-seeking Central Florida shoppers can head to. While the liquidation is intended as a final chapter for Bed Bath & Beyond, the company says it'll pivot upon a successful sale of the business. That's it for headlines. And before we get into our story of the day, this episode is brought to you by my next entrepreneurial adventure, Out of Office Orlando, a co-working content studio where you can create content, connect with other local professionals, take a dip in our lazy river, or get a lap in on our outdoor electric go-kart track. It's like a country club where you can be productive, and I really think you're going to love it. If you're interested in learning more, shoot me an email at james@sweetfishmedia.com or send me a DM on LinkedIn, whatever tickles your fancy. All right, now let's get into our story of the day. So Daniel, you have gone from 5,000 followers on LinkedIn to 75,000 followers on LinkedIn in the last year. And there's a lot of folks watching this, whether you're a realtor, financial advisor, you're in insurance, that can deploy a lot of the things that you've done to see pretty similar results. Break down for us, what the heck have you done to go from 5 to 75,000 followers in the last year?
Man, well, first, it's the 5 years before that it took me to learn that. But what I'll tell you right now, right? I think one is consistency, right? Is being able to post daily, Monday through Friday at the same time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So like, I think consistency.
So hold full stop there. That sounds incredibly overwhelming for somebody who's not posting at all to then go, oh God, if I want to grow on LinkedIn, I've got to post every day. How did you get over that mental hurdle yourself?
I think LinkedIn is the easiest place to post because the best form of content for LinkedIn is written content. So it's not about 5 videos a week. Really, it's just 5, 300, like 1,000 character posts, which is like, that's 3 sentences and you're fine, right? Yeah. And it's knowing that some posts are a little bit longer than others, but it's not that overwhelming, especially like if you do it in batch creation. Yeah. You can, within 2 hours, you could do a whole month worth of
One thing that's been helping me as I've been trying to like get more consistent, I posted very consistently from like 2017 to 2018. I went from like, I think 4,000 followers to about 20,000 followers in the course of about a year. And again, to what you said, I was posting 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. Then I got out of it, went through some kind of stuff in the business that, that I had to shift my focus. And now that I'm starting, 5 years later, getting back into that rhythm, as I'm having conversations with, our CEO at Sweetfish, the operator for that business, or I'm having conversations with you at a lunch, or my buddy Timmy, or I'm on a client call, or I'm sharing something, we just got back from an event. I'm just trying to think about like, what am I saying in these conversations that seems to be interesting to the other person on the other end of the one-on-one interaction? And how can I distill that down into, 5, 7, 9 sentences that I can put on LinkedIn? And now that you can schedule posts in LinkedIn, that's been super helpful because I can go, okay, I'm going to write, like I just had this conversation. I'm going to write this one and schedule it to post tomorrow at 7:45 a.m.
No, I think you're right. And even if you like, if we take a couple of steps back, right? Like before we create content is having clarity of what is our ultimate goal with LinkedIn. And one of the things is like, okay, if I am a realtor, right, and I want to build a brand on LinkedIn, what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known as a realtor that sells new construction? Is it rentals, or is there a particular area where there's Dr. Phillips, Winter Park, Windermere that you want to be known? So like if I were to go back, and I say this all the time, like let's say for this example, I want to be a realtor and I want to own Dr. Phillips, right? So I can say, okay, on Mondays, I can talk about a personal story of mine. On Tuesdays, I can talk about something particularly in the community. On Wednesdays, I can talk about Orlando as general. On Thursdays, I can talk about the like benefits of owning a home in Dr. Phillips. On Friday, I can create another topic that you be known for. And if you have a little bit of a structure, it makes the creativity part a lot easier. And if you can combine that with just taking some notes when you're having conversations, when you're visiting a house with a prospect and they're like, we love the lakes, and then you talk about all the lakes in Dr. Phillips, or we love the education system. And so you talk about all the high schools and middle schools and elementary schools that your kids can go to in Dr. Phillips. It makes the content creation a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a story. The story I love telling is my friend Ken Posick, who's been on Orlando Business in the past. Fascinating story. He moves here from Detroit 5 years ago. He was successful in real estate in Detroit, but moving to a brand new market when you're in real estate, I mean, he's starting from scratch. Yeah. So incredibly risky move. But he decided to go all in on YouTube, building an audience through a media brand he calls the Orlando Reel. In the past 5 years, he now has, I think he just crossed over 37,000 subscribers on YouTube, 30,000 followers on TikTok, 30,000 followers on Instagram. Through building this audience, talking about theme parks, talking about Orlando news, talking about real estate, he has built this massive audience, not just of people that live in Orlando, but people that live outside of Orlando and want to move here. So he's building all of this affinity by creating content that is outside of just what his expertise is in. Yeah. He's not just talking about real estate. He's talking about this Lake Nona stuff that's happening with Disney, and he's talking about the Galactic Star Cruiser that they just shut down, and he's talking about all these things that are interesting to his ideal buyer. But it's because I think in marketing, we so often think that all we can talk about is our expertise. Yeah. But the reality is our buyer is thinking about so much more than our expertise. So we talk about media brands a lot at Sweetfish, but that's not all we talk about. We talk about all of B2B marketing because our buyers are B2B marketers. So we have to talk about the things that are relevant to them and important to them, not only the things that are important to us. And so many real estate agents just want to talk about their newest listing, and they're missing out on the massive opportunity to engage the 97% of their market that's not ready to buy a house right now.
Today, but then they are tomorrow, right?
They are tomorrow or the next day.
And that's the thing is like, that's where you change when you're thinking of playing the game the long term, not how I'm going to sell a house tomorrow, but how I'm just going to get tons of referrals 5 years from now. You think about it differently, right?
Very different. Now Ken Posick, just to circle back on the story, last year he did 5.2 million views on YouTube. He also did over $200 million in real estate sales last year alone. I think he's got 35 agents now on his team. It's insane. I mean, it works.
Yeah, if you think about a realtor and you own Dr. Phillips, there's hundreds of thousands of houses, and let's say that every 7 years the house is sold on average, which is how much a mortgage is. Like, you're the go-to person. Like, there's someone that owns I Love Dr. Phillips, but if there isn't an I Love Winter Garden, if there isn't an I Love Ocoee, it's out there for the taking. And I think using that, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, or any other platform, it's massive.
Yeah, I think growing on, whether you're trying to grow on LinkedIn or you're trying to grow cross platforms, I've been really intrigued by what's going on with short form vertical video right now with YouTube Shorts. You can basically create one cut of a video that works on Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, which brings you massive efficiency. I think there's obviously, depending on your audience, if you're a financial planner, I would say LinkedIn is for sure where you should be trying to figure this stuff out. And yeah, I'm fascinated by this stuff. I know you're fascinated by this stuff. I appreciate you jumping on and talking through this, because 5,000 to 75,000 followers on any platform, especially LinkedIn, where the audience is arguably much more valuable, incredibly impressive. Anything else around, you talked about consistency. We got off on kind of a rabbit trail with some other stuff. Any other big ideas from that transformation from 5 to 75,000 followers that could be helpful before I let you go today?
Yeah. So what I've done is I study a lot of posts, right? So even I have a team, an assistant that actually looks at the main players in my industry and would look at what's working and what's not working, right? And here's what I realized on a post: when you want to post is have a strong hook that allows you, the reader, to want to read beyond the 3 lines that LinkedIn shows you, right? Where you have to say read more. The body should be either, entertaining, educational, or has a strong call to action, whether it's to push you to a sales call or to next step in your sales funnel. And always have a call to action. The call to action should not always be selling. It could be like a question that gets your audience to engage. Aside from that, it's also engaging in other people's content, right? I think what's interesting is that what happens when someone messages you on LinkedIn or any social media platform? The first thing you do is check their profile. So that's an easy way for you to bring attention and bring community. And when you are engaging and commenting on other people's content, they will comment and engage on your content. And then when you can create a community and it starts creating a snowball effect, you will see, I said 5,000 to 75,000. Well, the last 30,000 have been in the last couple months, right? Yeah. So it's because of that snowball effect. Yeah. It hasn't just been 75 or 30 or 50,000 divided by 5 and you get the answer. It never works that way.
Yeah. I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. This has been awesome. I appreciate you, dude.